Hey everyone, long overdue West Coaster update. This is the June issue. If you haven't picked it up, or if you haven't seen it online, you can go to westcoastersd.com. Anyway, latest West Coaster issue. I did an article on my, what I called Short on Time Pale Ale. And I did a video on this brew day, where I talked about using a 100% extract beer, hop bursted. So you're using no bittering hops, all late addition, and because you're using extract, I only boil 20 minutes. Hops went on at 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, flame out, and I dry hopped it. And the beer turned out really great. I wish I would have done it. I didn't have time. I've been so busy lately. I didn't have time to do a video on the actual beer itself, but I did take it to the San Diego Homebrewers camp out. Took it out there and surprised some people when I told them that, yeah, it's 100% extract beer. You know, not even steep grains. Anyway, I give the recipe in this issue. The one I did, you can modify the hops if you want. You don't have to use that many hops, but it worked out really well. You know, for the first month to 5 weeks, the hop character held up really well, and you couldn't tell. You know, there was always this base kind of malt character, but very minor. So that started to shine through a little too much and got a little too malty quicker than I normally like. But it worked out really well. So, you know, give that a try. And it's funny because I was at NEC, and one of the talks was on scaling down, and he talked about doing something pretty similar. And I thought that was pretty cool that someone else out there has kind of thought about doing that idea too. And it really does work. So if you want a really short brew day, I encourage checking out the recipe, read the article, and like I said, it's westcoastersd.com, and you can read my article, what I talk about in it. And but meanwhile, I'm drinking on my wit beer I brewed up. I haven't been brewing that much lately, so this was something I brewed up. I believe it was early May. And it took me like a month to get it into a keg. So pretty simple recipe. Belgian Pilsner malt, German wheat malt, and some flaked wheat, and a little acidulated malt in there. Kind of help it out. I just did a bittering addition of Citra because I had it laying around. Added some coriander in. You know, I added just a tiny amount of hibiscus. I don't know how much that worked in the beer, but I did that at flame out along with kumquats. So instead of doing traditional wit beer with orange peel, I decided to use some kumquats that I got, and they're from my boss's friends, and organic kumquats from their yard, from a tree. So and they were delicious. So I used those in the beer. In the keg, I did for 3 days add in more kumquats and coriander to the beer. So it turned out really nice. I used the Y-Yeast Belgian Wit Ale. It's the WLP 400. Really like the yeast character. Did a fermentation profile was rough. I kept it pretty low, like 66 for the first couple days, and then I just told my new BrewBit temperature controller to just let it free rise up to, I think it was 72 or 74, and I held that there for a few weeks. Got a really good yeast character with the beer. I thought it turned out really well. It does have a big floral note to it, so I don't know how much the hibiscus is helping out. But I think it's mostly the coriander. You get the nice citrus note coming from the kumquats. Yeah, it's a little different from the orange peel, although if you give it to someone blind, they might think it's like an orange peel, but you know, it's still that sweeter citrus note. Floral citrus is most of them getting the aroma. The yeast character isn't overly phenolic, which is nice. It's got this nice sort of funkiness to it without being a Brett funk. If you've had some Belgian yeast strains, you know what I mean. It's kind of a different level of kind of like earthy type of character, and I get that in this beer. And it dried out real nicely. Checking the recipe right now. Starting gravity was 1049, a little higher than I liked, and it finished at 1007. So it came in 5.5%, which is a little high for the style, but you know, it works. Not extremely high, but you know, I'm in the ballpark. So really happy with this beer. Brewed up a Russian Imperial Stout that I'll probably talk about that in a future video, but for today, I'm going on a little too long. Just wanted to mention the West Coaster article. The next month is a recap of the National Homebrewers Conference. So I went out to Grand Rapids, just kind of wrote about what went on there and how the local homebrewers did in the contest and what went on. And overall, very enjoyable conference. I might do a follow-up video at some point. I'd like to do a podcast on my trip out to Michigan. So it's going to wrap this one up. Till next time, everyone. Cheers.